Hi, I'm Rebecca Leland, and this is From the Wings. I'm social media manager here at Overshadowed, and Reba is my guest today. So I wasn't able to come out to your recent show, so I was wondering if you could tell me how it went. Is there tea?
Yes, there's tea.
I'm ready.
Okay, so you know that Overshadowed is designed that we do 4 main stage productions a year, 1 children and family, camps, and then just recently we've decided that another arm of keeping the theater open all the time would be to do concerts or special presentations or something like that, right?
That. Yeah.
So we did it a couple years ago before COVID, and we had a Valentine concert with Peter, which was beautiful. And then this is the next thing that we have added, and it was, for those of you who didn't see it, was Jeremiah Dew's presentation of One Voice, a Black History Narrative. Wow. So he's been doing this for years. He actually was at Overshadowed about 10 years ago and did the presentation when we were way back in the little tiny church. And recently I've been watching him on social media. I've been seeing that he's really gaining quite a following, and with all the stuff that's just happened in the world lately, I thought that it was a great time to have him come back and give this presentation again.
But it didn't go as planned.
No.
Why?
So because people were mad at me for having him here. Like
actually mad?
Yeah, I got letters and not hate mail. They didn't threaten to stone me or have a riot or anything, but tried to convert me like I was doing something as a Christian that was really wrong and losing my sanctification or something.
So what part of having him here?
Well, okay, so he sent us trailers, and on the trailer he would have some of the men that he did. And so he does a little bit of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he does a little bit of Barack Obama, he did a little bit of Muhammad Ali. People got completely turned off. Now, I'm not going to say that I don't understand that, because I do. But what I don't understand is why they made up their minds so far as to thinking what the presentation was going to be about, when they come to things that overshadowed all the time. But it was like they immediately just turned off because of those 2 people and the fact that Jeremiah would do that. But they did also ask me, well, why isn't he doing things like Ben Carson or other things? And I said, well, I'll ask him. So I did, and he said, you give me a great speech that Ben Carson has written, and then I will add him to the presentation. Because once you come to Jeremiah's presentation, you realize that it is in no way political. It is not persuasive in any way. It is exactly what his title says. It is a Black history narrative. That the fact that Barack Obama was the first Black president is a big deal. You can't just not talk about it just because you don't happen to like it. Yeah. And I think that is the thing that I was so disappointed in people. So have you ever heard of James Weldon Johnson? Mm-mm. So he actually taught at the university, and he's an American writer, but he wrote this biblical creation story in the late 1800s, early 1900s. It starts out with God stepping out onto the universe and saying, I'm lonely, I think I'll make me a man. And it's just beautiful, especially when you hear a Black rich voice, a rich Black voice, telling it and saying these beautifully crafted words. Anyway, that's how he starts his whole presentation. Wow. So he takes it from that, goes to Frederick Douglass, who was a slave, but actually has written 3 autobiographies. And then he goes on through the other historical figures. At the end of it, after he, again, does not do anything persuasive, he's not political in any way, he's just telling a story. He does a Q&A, and he told us this story that the last several times he's done this in schools, children have raised their hands and said, I'm sorry, I don't understand. Are you meaning to tell me that there was a time where Black and white people didn't like each other?
Wow.
Which I think is amazing. Wow. And so then he goes on to say, well, that's the reason we need to keep telling the story, because it's such a testament of how far we've come as people and humanity. Yeah. But then I get these letters, and I have people who don't come. I mean, Rebecca, it's probably the lowest attended thing that Overshadowed has done in years. Maybe not ever, but in years. And I understand people are busy and COVID, people are staying home and all that kind of stuff. I get it.
Yeah.
What disappoints me is the fact that people would just not come because they see somebody's picture on the screen and whatever. So I asked some of the people who came that night, I said, why did you come? And one of the people told me, she goes, well, I came number one because I figured if you were doing it, then it was something that I wanted to see, which is like the best thing ever, right? It's like, okay, that made my night. You're my new favorite person. Number two, she said, I need to be more informed. And she said, so I figured this was a great chance for me to learn more.
Wow.
I was completely moved by so many things. But the thing that got me the most at the end of this presentation is something. Can I play it for you? It's something that Martin Luther King Jr. did, who I would have loved to have been able to just sit and hear some of his sermons. But here, I want you to listen.
If you want to be important, wonderful. If you want to be recognized, wonderful. If you want to be great, wonderful. But recognize that he who is greatest among you shall be your servant. That's a new definition of greatness. This morning, the thing that I like about it, by giving that definition of greatness, it means that everybody can be great. Because everybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and your verb agree to serve. You don't have to know about Plato and Aristotle to serve. You don't have to know Einstein's theory of relativity to serve. You don't have to know the second theory of thermodynamics in physics to serve. You only need a heart full of grace.
So I think that's our problem, is that we aren't full of grace.
Wow.
And when we don't have that, then we're missing the whole point about everything. And I think that was really sad for me. So a lot of people asked me, well, are you going to stop doing things like this? Because we lost money.
Okay.
But to me, it's not really about the money for this point. It was something that I felt like God wanted me to do.
Wow.
And I did it. And I was the one that ended up hearing something, because I wouldn't have listened to that quote anywhere else. But instead I heard it and was completely moved by it. I wish we had more people telling that story.
Amen.
So for us today, what we can do is go out and tell that story.
Amen. Oh, so 10 out of 10. Don't regret it.
Don't regret it at all.
I love that.
So anyway.
For now, this is just me.
Oh, and me.
Talking to you.
From the wings.
See you next time.